Hello everyone and welcome back to our Shaolin Talks. So today we have a very special guest coming to join us, the lovely Libby Battaglia. She's going to be chatting to us about some amazing work that she's doing with a company in Southampton called Audacious. As you know, this month is all about culture. So we've been chatting with lots of different people about culture, about history, and really exploring different aspects of that. Libby's going to be chatting to us about the projects that she's been doing in Southampton City and also in the South as well, and also going to be chatting to us about and sharing with us about the projects with the Mayflower 400. So for those of you out there who don't know what the Mayflower 400 is, it's if you were watching last week, we were having a chat about what that was. It's a commemoration of the sailing of the ship.
Yes.
And it's about exploring the history and the culture and the impact that it's had on the city. And yeah, and it was a very interesting talk that we had last week. And I think it's going to be fantastic to hear about what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be offering for the city.
Brilliant.
So I was wondering if you could share with us a little bit about what you do, and tell us all about Audacious. Yeah. Audacious.
So we work with light art, and so it's kind of a new genre in many ways, but our artists work with lighting. They're lighting designers, but they also work with technology, and they do and so under that comes things like projections, and you know, when you see all those balls kind of moving and twinkling, and LEDs.
Wow.
So they're lighting designers, and most of the work that we do is outdoors.
It's outdoor light exhibitions,
light festivals. Yes.
Wow.
Light trails and light installations. So it's becoming very popular now, particularly in the winter, because obviously we need darkness.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You need the light. Yeah. And what inspired you to do that? How did Audacious come about?
Audacious came about when I was working with the Lighthouse in Poole. So the Lighthouse is a really large venue.
It's a theatre, isn't it?
It's a theatre, but it's the largest venue outside of London. Oh, it's got 4 kind of auditoria, so concert hall, main theatre, studio theatre and cinema. And I was looking to do something different, and I was really interested in kind of digital arts. And a friend of mine called Donald Tutera, actually, who's a reviewer, he's a critic. He sent me a link to a light festival in Manchester and said, have you seen this? What about this? And I was like, oh, wow, that looks really interesting. So this is about 5 years ago. And I went up to Manchester and saw the light trail, and I was blown away by it, because what I saw was so many people, families together, generations interacting, taking pictures and doing all these selfies and seeing all this beautiful work in the middle of winter on a dark, cold evening, and just having so much fun. And I was just like, I need to bring this to the South. And so that's kind of how it started. So Lighthouse supported me to go up to see the Light Festival and do some research, and then I started researching other light festivals and realised that there wasn't much of that in the South at the time. And then the Arts Council funded Audacious to set up a brand new festival.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it?
Well, as well as sponsors, and the Lighthouse was one of them. The Poole bid were another sponsor, and the Arts Council and some local businesses. So we started it very small, and we were expecting, we were going to be happy if we had 5,000 people, but we had actually over 20,000 people that came to the first one. Wow.
So was this actually in Poole?
So it was actually in Poole, in Dorset, And then we thought, well, we'll do it again. So the next time there was over 40,000 people that came. And then the last festival we did was about 55,000 people.
Wow.
In 3 evenings for like 3-4 hours a night.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
But these light festivals are really popular, aren't they? They're really popular. And
they're becoming more popular in the UK. I think the Europeans are way ahead of us. They're like, you know, there's a Leon Light Festival. It's like the grandmother of light festivals. And it started in 1852. So yes. And the UK has always been obsessed with fireworks and bonfire night. But I think that's changing. And there's a shift because, you know, for the environment, and also a lot of the light artists, you know, they're working with LEDs, and it's environmentally friendly and sustainable, so that helps as well. But also it's different and it's fun, and it mixes, you know, I like it when it mixes, when it tells stories, and so with the projections they're bringing stories and the storytelling to life, and so that's kind of the direction that we focus in that kind of bringing in that narrative as well. What
was the aim of the Light Festival for Poole? What was your theme that you were? What were you trying to?
Aim. We were trying to prove how arts can transform a space, and how how arts and culture can bring people out of their homes. If it's something that's appealing to them, but also we wanted to entertain people in a different way, and. What's so great is it's so accessible. You don't have to think hard about it. It just looks beautiful, and more so when you can interact with it, it's fun. And I think what's great about it is that you can create memories with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's getting people coming together and
which
sharing, and
it's been hard.
Yeah, especially this time. What's happening at the moment. But yeah, and also it's quite relevant now, isn't it? Because obviously with the COVID and everything, people are not wanting to come out of their home, and obviously wanting to be in a space that's a wide open space. It's like more accessible for people.
Yeah, and you know? I think. So we're working on a ticketed event, so that enables us to control the audience, and also in a very large open space, so that people feel safe and they can stay in their bubbles and they can keep their distance and all of that kind of thing.
Right. Is that this light? Was that how Audacious first started with the light, or was it? Yeah. So it all started from this?
So Audacious was set up to kind of deliver the Light Festival, and then we've done more work around light. But I've always been fascinated with light because of being a dancer and a choreographer, and how you transform that black box with light.
I was going to ask you about this, about your past, about what you did before you did Audacious. So you were a dancer before?
So I was a trained dancer. I was actually trained as a classical ballerina. I went to a school when I was 11 and trained professionally.
Amazing.
Yeah, at Elmhurst, a ballet school it was called then, and was very tall, obviously, for a ballerina, because I'm 5'10". So with point shoes on, it's a little harder, because the boys are obviously smaller when you're so tall. And I became kind of a showgirl, really.
Oh, really?
Went to Spain and worked in a really big show with about 80 performers, dancers, and it was a big show, like a Vegas show, with waterfalls and fountains and flying, and we had all kind of ice skaters, and it was really exciting.
Really so it's kind of where you got your inspiration from.
Yeah, it was really creative. The shows are really creative, and we had some brilliant choreographers from all over the world that worked with us. And then so that's how I started, and then I think I changed very young. I was interested in the production side and how the shows were put together, and what a producer was, and all of those kind of things. So I was fortunate to be working for a really large cruise line, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and they retrained me as a production manager. So that's how I got into it.
Oh wow! Yeah, and then obviously that sort of progressed over time, and then you ended up at the Lighthouse in Poole.
Yes.
And this is how Audacious came about.
Yes.
Amazing. How many, who's in your team for Audacious? Is it just yourself, or do you have a
we are
group of
really
people?
freelance. So everybody's freelance because they're all doing different jobs. But I work with a really brilliant lighting designer called James Smith.
Okay.
And he's been doing lighting design since he was very young. He also was from Poole, and he trained as a young technician at on Bournemouth Pier when they had a theatre on the pier, and they had a young techs program. And he did that, and then he went off to university and became a lighting designer. So he lights a lot of kind of West End shows and pantomimes, and he started working with me about 3 years ago. So that's been really great. So we've been able to take what we've learned from the theatre and kind of bring it outdoors, which is really cool.
So everything is outdoors?
Everything is outdoors, yeah.
Wow,
I mean, we do
amazing.
we do some light art inside, but when you've got a big space, so we'll do fire maybe, fire installation inside, or we might do some projections inside, but most of it is outdoors, yeah.
What do you, I'm just thinking about outdoors, like it must be quite challenging in lots of different ways. It must be sort of bringing it all together, and the technical part of it. And
the technical part is challenging.
Is that the most challenging part?
Probably, yeah. And I mean, we've got brilliant technicians and people that work with us, sound and light technicians, but the weather is always interesting.
I was thinking about that. And what happens if it rains?
Well, the lighting equipment that we use is waterproof, so it's okay if it rains. The moments that we have challenges is when it's really windy. If we're trying to set up, like big structures and things like that, that can be challenging. I think last Light Festival we had 3 storms leading up to the festival, and then on the day of the first evening it was like 55-mile-an-hour winds.
Was this last year?
Yeah,
because I had a friend of mine who said he was doing a festival in Cornwall, and apparently all these festivals had to get cancelled all down the country. So there was like Boomtown that got cancelled, and then it got to his festival, and then and it must have been, was it a part of that, this big storm that came through the south?
I don't know, because it was in February, but we had 3 storms in consecutive weekends that started in January and then went through. But the harbour master said to me, "Don't worry, at 3 o'clock it's going to calm down. You'll be fine." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And he was sure, and he was right. And so we opened. But we were very late because we got so delayed. But we caught up with ourselves by the next day. But it can be really challenging, but it's fun.
How is it fun?
What's the most fun part? I think because you've just got an amazing team of people that just work together to make it happen, and that's what's really that's the cool thing about it.
And I suppose you see people coming and you see them enjoying what you've created, and you've seen
and then you look at the videos and you're like, wow, and you see their faces, and that
I've seen some of your videos. They are unbelievable. I mean, the lights look, I don't know, you'll have to go online and have a look and have a look at the videos. They're absolutely spectacular.
They're clever. They're clever artists, and that's what's great, is that they're so innovative that they're always wanting to do new things, and so we like to try new things, which is what we're doing for Mayflower 400. Yeah,
you'll have to tell me all about that. So what are you doing for Mayflower 400?
So we're doing an installation in the 5 Towers on Western Shore, and actually it's a really large-scale community participation installation. So the artist is called Andy McEwen, and he has been making these flags to go in the windows of the people that are residents in the tower blocks. And he's been using a navigation alphabet that can says a letter, so that the residents can give messages with the flags down along the 13 floors. And then he's also using blocks of colour, so he's curating this installation, but actually the people in their houses put it up, so they'll get their kind of reflective light material, and they'll just put it in the window. They'll peel the tape off, stick it there, and just leave it there and leave their light on, and then it reflects, so that when you're outside you see these beautiful colours, panes of colour.
Wow. That is amazing. I'm literally, how does that work? How does that work?
It's to do with the material and how it reflects with the light. So and so you can see it from the other side. We've done quite a few tests, and we know it works. but you got to leave your light on. So it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th of November, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So, and why did you choose to do it there?
Because it's such an amazing location, and I went on a site visit. So when we're planning, we kind of go on site visits. We look at spaces around the city and go, what could we do there and what could we do there? You kind of get inspired, and we went to the Western Shore, and it was in a cold November actually. And the artist was coming down to look at Light Up Poole location. So we were doing them at the same time. And we were walking and we were looking at the tower blocks, and we wanted to create something in the windows. And we were like, wouldn't it be cool if you could do these kind of silhouettes? And we were like having all these ideas. And then someone was like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. And then it was like, no, it'd be really cool if we could get the residents to create their own installation. And so that's what we're doing.
Is it important, the location that you put these light festivals on? Do you really think about the location, about where you're doing
Yes.
it? What is it about the location that drives you to think, okay, we're going to do our light installation here. This is where we're going to do it.
So the best locations are the ones where you don't have other light pollution. So where you haven't got too much light that's shining around. So the hardest thing about working in an urban space, like in a city or a town, is that there's lots of light that you're fighting against. So, because most of the light installations look better when they're in complete darkness, and so you're just focused on that piece. So you want to take out the light, but you bring the light in. But obviously the shops, they want to still promote their work, and
so you can't make them channel their
you can't
lights
make
off.
them turn their lights off. We ask them to. Some of them do, some of them don't. But the darker the space, the better.
So that area is particularly dark area, and it's going to work really well.
Yes, because there's not an awful lot of light that's going to pollute that space.
So let me get this straight. So for the Mayflower 400, you're going to be doing this light exhibition. How does that link in with the Mayflower 400?
It's to do with the shipping. So, because obviously the ship passed those towers. And also all the cruise ships, and a lot of there's a lot of journeys that are kind of going on, passing in different kinds of ships and boats and planes and everything else. And then the navigation is the way that the ships can communicate with each other. So that's why they're having the navigation flags down the centre windows, but also it's about community, and it's about all diverse communities, and how do you bring those people together? And so we've had we're doing it through COVID, so that people we are able to be safe, so that everything will be delivered in an envelope, and then they will be able to take that out and then hang it.
Is this like a new technology? Is this kind of, because I've never heard of this before.
The reflective material. Yes, really cool. I think it's fairly new. And I think you're going to ask me what it's called, and I can't remember now. But it's a type of material that responds well with the light. And the artist obviously did the research, and he tried different types of materials, and we found the right one.
Wow, that's amazing. Is there any other projects that you guys are doing as well? I know you're doing stuff to do with poetry.
So we've got another artist. He's called Gijs van Bon, and he's from the Netherlands. He's coming over in February, and he is really clever. He uses different technologies to write. So we've had him in the festival before, where he had this robot, and young people wrote poetry. Then he programmed their poetry into the robot, and then the robot wrote their poems out with sand, with this reflective glow-in-the-dark sand, and it just, and then we had all this beautiful poetry all over the floor on the streets.
That sounds amazing.
And so now he's got this new technology that he's developing with lasers, where the primary school children are writing the poems, and then he will program his machine so that the lasers then scribe the poems onto the wall. So through the lasers, so it's really clever.
I love it how art is going into this kind of like technical, like kind of, you know, like futuristic, and you kind
it's
of
the
like,
future.
It's the future.
It definitely is the future. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how it kind of. Is there any technologies out there that you? Because obviously technology is being sort of adapted and developed all the time. Is there any technologies out there that you really want to work with, that you've seen, you know, and you think, oh, you like AI, or I don't know, something?
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is really interesting. I don't know too much about it, but I think, you know, it's for whatever the artist, it's kind of, you're inspired by the artist and what it is that they're working with. And I think now there's a lot more artists that are working in that genre. And so we're always looking for new things and kind of talent spotting.
So if an artist wanted to get involved in your projects, what would they do? They had just contact you?
Yeah, a lot of artists just send an email to me and say, hey, have you seen this? Do you like have you seen this? But also, I mean, not now so much, but I have, you know, part of my job is to go and see other light festivals around the world and see new artists and discover new work, which is something that I really like doing. But we also have artists that we work with that are creating their own installations. And that's really exciting when they've got an idea and then you work with them to develop it. It's really exciting.
I wonder, because last year we hold an event at the Chinese New Year for Southampton City. And last year we had a group from the Isle of Wight that came and did an art installation for us in the centre of the Guildhall Square, doing all the Zodiac. Wouldn't it be amazing if Audacious came to help us to do a light installation for the Chinese New Year? Maybe you could do a massive light up, you know, it's Year of the Ox.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
you could do a big projection,
like a massive ox. That would be so amazing if you could find an artist that could do a big bull in the centre. A
projected one.
Like a projected one.
Oh, we've got lots of artists that can do that. Yeah, we're working with an artist called Ross Ashton, who has a company called The Projection Studio, and he comes up with some really cool projections. And then there's another artist called Ashley Wilkie, and he is really good at animating and doing the kind of 3D stuff. So, awesome. There's some cool people around, and obviously in the Netherlands and Amsterdam, there's some great. They're a little bit ahead of us, I think.
Yeah. With the poetry, is that a project that's happening right now at the moment?
Yeah, the schools. So Artful Scribe is an arts organisation based in Southampton, and they have developed some really cool resources, online digital videos, with Samita, who's a local poet, and they are now out and available for young people to kind of look into and learn from her, and then they can send in their poems through their schools, and then the poems go to Heis. But also we're doing film poetry, which is another form of light art, where the artist or anybody writes a poem and then they tell that poem through video.
Wow, that's Has anybody have started to do that? Have they started to create?
We started to do that in 2018. So we had a competition for film poems to be sent to us, and then we chose a winner and we commissioned that artist, and I think we had 12 different countries that engaged with the project from all over the world that sent in videos. So already we've had videos from Afghanistan and Iran, and so really interesting to see that how far the reach goes.
Are they young people, or
I don't know, because they don't necessarily tell us their age, but they just they send in their application and they tell us where they're from and what it's about. So and we've had people from Ireland as well. So really interesting.
So is it like a competition?
Yes. And then there's a winner, and then there's some prizes which I think are cinema prizes and restaurant prizes. So
if somebody wanted to enter their work into this competition, what would they do? How would they find
So they
out
just
about
send it into, or they could go on the Audacious website, and look under Mayflower 400. There's a tab that says Mayflower 400, and then there's a film poetry section, and on there there's loads of resources that tells them all about what it is and how they can make their own, and then where they send their submission to, which is info@audacious.org.uk.
That was very good. We'll have to put that on the bottom so you guys know exactly where to go to. It's really cool. So the one where you've got all the lights, is that called Tower of Light?
Tower of Light.
Tower of Light.
Towers of Light.
Towers of Light.
Yes.
Oh, we'll have to keep a lookout for that.
And we've got a very good stage management team working on how the logistics of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of this going? Where do you see Audacious going in the future?
Well, I'm working on another project called lightuptrails.com, and that's a new light up trail project, festival that will be in beautiful outdoor open spaces, and that starts in December, and then we're going to take that to different spaces around the UK and around the world. So that's the next thing. That's
your next project. Where is it going to be? Where is that going to start? Is that in Southampton?
It's going to start in Stenning, actually, on the Wisson Estate, in just outside of Brighton.
Okay. So, and what does the project mean? What's it all about?
So it's a light festival. So it's we because it's such a difficult time. We kind of want to find a way. Light Up Trails is not just me. There's 4 directors that are working on the project, and then lots of artists. And it's a way to get our industry back again in a safe way, and to get our artists working, and also for people to come together when they haven't been able to come together. So in a safe way, so people come in their groups and their bubbles, and because it's a trail, people keep moving. So yeah, that's the next project. And
I just trying to get my head around the light trails. Like, what will they be, like different shapes, or what are these?
So this particular one has got the theme of hope. And so people will walk in and they see the Garden of Hope. And this is a new technology that James Smith is working with, who's a lighting designer. And there's the Hope Tree. And as they walk through that, then they see this beautiful country house on the estate, and that will all be lit up as kind of Christmassy, and have a Christmas songs. One of the artists is writing it. And then they'll be able to walk through along the path, along the estate, and they'll see different installations as they go. And they'll be able to have a nice kind of festive drink and food. And that's the idea.
And why this area? Why did you choose this area to locate this project?
Because one of the partners involved lives in the village and knows the estate, and it's just a really beautiful location, and it's perfect for this time of year, and also for the kind of time that we're in at the moment. So
wow, it sounds like you've got a lot of projects going on, and you're going to be inspiring a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's good that people can work, and that there's it's hard when people that who have been really successful travelling around the world doing their artwork suddenly haven't done anything since February, and I've had to get other jobs that they're not necessarily trained to do, or it's not their passion, and it's not their the thing that drives them, but they've had to do it because they've had to pay the bills. And I think if we can do anything to get that industry back again, then we should. And I think it's great that some venues have started to open, and people have been able to be entertained, because I think the one thing that's kept people alive through COVID is arts and culture. And
absolutely,
I mean, social media is so over kind of driven at the moment, isn't there? So much content out there, but I think that during COVID lockdown, it was arts and culture that got people through it. And, you know, a lot of artists were giving away free content because they just wanted to work. And so I think if we can do anything to kind of help them and get back to work, I think that, you know, that's great. And the government have given a lot of money to venues and arts organisations just this week so that people can, you know, keep their staff on or kind of bring them out of furlough and bring artists into the venue and get the artists, you know, creating the work, because there's been no work that's been able to be created.
It's a really struggle for artists at the moment. I mean, I think it's always a struggle for artists, isn't it? In general, it's always a struggle for artists to find work.
Well, I think it's hard for them to find work because they are focused on their work and they're not necessarily but very good at selling their work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're, you know, so yeah, that is hard for them. So and also artists just want as many people as possible to see their work.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be an amazing opportunity created for artists and also for the local community as well. So it's benefiting, you know, people in the industry, and it's going to be benefiting the community as well, because they're going to be inspired by those projects. And I can't wait to see some of those light installations and work.
We're really excited about Towers of Light because that's a community project, and so they're going to be part of the creation, and so they'll feel, you know, hopefully they'll feel some kind of satisfaction out of it when they see it. And so, you know.
So if you want to see this project, remind us where they can
Western
see.
Shore.
Western Shore, okay.
And it's going to be on the Thursday, the 26th, 27th and 28th of November.
So people can just go there, they can turn up and have a look?
Well, they can just go there between 6 and 9 and have a look. So if they're just going for a walk along the beach, they can just turn around and see the towers.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
And
does Audacious have a website, and do you have like a Facebook? Or?
There is an Audacious website, and there is a Facebook page as well.
So people, if they're interested and you want to find out more about Audacious and the work they do, then you can just go there and have a look, and how you want to get involved, if you want to do the poetry, or if you want to find out more about Towers of Light, or if you're an artist yourself and you want to contact Libby and show her some of the work that you do, then I'm sure she'd be
I would be delighted.
I just think it's amazing, all this technology, you know, that art and technology all coming together. I remember when I was in theatre, it was like a multimedia theatre. You know, this was the thing, multimedia theatre, when you just had like a projector and theatre together, and that was it, you know. We were like, wow, this is amazing. And now it's like unbelievable.
Yeah,
you know? You're saying all about the artists and the kind of drawing, and it's mind-blowing. I can't wait to see what your next projects are going to be and how you're going to inspire people. Amazing. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, if you want to come and see these Towers of Light to do with the Mayflower 400, then you can go on the websites and have a look. You can get in touch with Libby and find out how you guys can get involved.
Great, thank you.
So great, thank you, Libby. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, and thank you so much for watching. And hopefully we will see you again next week. Bye bye now. Bye bye.
Bye.